Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the secrets hidden in plain sight within these monster corporate filings. And today we're going to unravel Coherus Oncology's latest report. Get ready, because there are some preliminary numbers here that might just raise an eyebrow or two. If you like getting straight to the point about what these filings really mean for companies, make sure you are subscribed. And don't forget to join our Discord community, linked in the description below for more discussions and insights. Alright, let's dive into this. Coherus Oncology Incorporated recently filed a Form 8K, which is basically a report for really big news that shareholders need to know about right away. The main reason for this filing is to share some early financial results for the quarter and the full year that just ended on the 31st of December 2025. They presented these numbers at the 43rd Annual JP Morgan Healthcare Conference. Now, they're calling these numbers preliminary and unaudited. This is super important because it means the company's accountants haven't finished all the final checks and balances. So, the actual final numbers could be a bit different, and they themselves warn that these results may vary materially from the final ones. Also, their independent auditors haven't even looked at these preliminary numbers yet. So, take them with a grain of salt, but they still give us a peek into where the company is headed. The filing essentially points to an exhibit, which is a slide from their presentation. This slide is where they share the juicy financial details. Think of it as the company giving us a sneak peek at their homework before it is officially graded. They are sharing preliminary net revenues for the fourth quarter and the full fiscal year of 2025. And also their cash equivalents and investments as of the end of 2025. What is really interesting here is their focus on revenue. They are sharing preliminary net revenues. This is the money they've brought in after accounting for things like returns and discounts. For a company in the oncology space, revenue figures are like the heartbeat of the business. They tell us if their treatments are reaching patients, and if those patients and their doctors are opting for Coherus's solutions. This particular filing doesn't contain a full financial table directly within the 8K, but it explicitly points to Exhibit 99.1, the presentation slide, as the source for these preliminary financial results. The report mentions that these results will be discussed at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference. Typically, these conferences are where companies highlight their achievements and future outlook to investors and analysts. So, what they present here is usually meant to be a positive snapshot. The filing also very specifically calls out projected revenue growth of LOQTORZI. LOQTORZI is likely one of their key drugs or products. Talking about projected growth is a forward-looking statement, meaning they are making educated guesses about the future. This is where things get exciting, but also where we need to be cautious. Projected growth is wonderful, but it is not guaranteed, and they are very clear about the risks involved. They mention having to raise funds, which might not always be easy or available. They also talk about market acceptance for their products. This means how well doctors, healthcare providers, and patients actually choose to use their drugs. In the competitive world of cancer treatments, this is a massive hurdle. If a drug isn't widely adopted, even with great technology, it won't generate the revenue they expect. And then there is the ever-present risk of litigation, which can be costly and damage a company's reputation. Now, let's look at the big picture for Coherus Oncology Incorporated. They are a company focused on developing and commercializing cancer treatments. Their stock trades on a major exchange, the Nasdaq Global Market. Under the ticker symbol GRS, this tells us they are a publicly traded company and therefore subject to all these reporting requirements, aiming to keep investors informed. Incorporated in Delaware, a common state for businesses, Coherus Oncology Incorporated operates in the US securities market. The numbers in the table, like the commission file number and the IRS employer identification number, are administrative details that help identify the company within the regulatory framework. They don't directly tell us about their business performance, but they are essential for the filing itself. They've also included their primary office address and phone number, which is standard for these reports. It is like the company's official mailing address for all SEC-related matters. This part of the filing is about making sure they're using the right form for the right reasons. They are checking boxes to indicate that this Form 8K isn't being used to do other things like solicit material for a shareholder vote or announce something before a big merger. It is just for reporting this current event, which is the release of preliminary financial information. They also indicate whether they are an emerging growth company. This is a classification for companies that are relatively new and smaller, allowing them some flexibility with financial reporting rules. Coherus Oncology Incorporated is not electing to use the extended transition period for adopting new accounting standards, meaning they are keeping pace with the latest financial reporting requirements. This section, Item 2.02 is where companies report any publicly disclosed events that are considered significant regarding their financial results or operations. This filing uses that section to announce the preliminary financial data shared at the JP Morgan conference. They are essentially saying, hey, we told some people this information, so now we have to tell everyone. This is a really important legal disclaimer when they say the information shall not be deemed filed. It means they're trying to avoid certain legal implications. If this were officially filed, it would be subject to stricter legal penalties if it turned out to be inaccurate. By calling it furnished, they are giving investors the information but trying to shield themselves from some of the more severe consequences if these preliminary numbers end up being off. It's a way to share information while managing legal risks. Finally, under Exhibit 99.1, we see slide from company presentation. This is the actual document containing the financial data we're dissecting. And then there is Exhibit 104, the cover page interactive data file, which is basically a digital tag for the filing itself, making it machine readable for systems like the SEXO. What is the story here? Coherus Oncology Incorporated is navigating the complex pharmaceutical market, especially in cancer treatments. They are sharing early peak numbers at a major industry conference. This is a strategy to generate buzz and signal confidence to investors. The key takeaway is that they are aiming for growth, particularly with a product called LOQTORZI, but they are also being very upfront about the uncertainties and risks that come with being in this field. As investors, we need to watch how these preliminary numbers translate into final audited results, and more importantly, how the market responds to their products in the coming months and years. The success of LOQTORZI will be critical. Looking at this report, Coherus Oncology Incorporated is essentially in a growth phase, trying to establish and expand the market presence of its treatments. The preliminary data, while not finalized, is their attempt to provide a positive outlook. The biggest strength is clearly their focus on oncology, a high-demand area. However, the weakness, or rather the significant risk, lies in the unpredictability of market acceptance and the need for ongoing funding. They have to convince doctors and patients that their solutions are the best, which is a constant battle against existing treatments and competitors. The cautionary note about the preliminary results is a very big deal. It means the actual performance could be quite different. So we should temper our initial excitement with a healthy dose of skepticism until the final numbers are out and have been scrutinized by auditors. Alright, that is our breakdown of Coherus Oncology Incorporated's latest filing. What is your take on these preliminary numbers and what they might signal for the company's future? Especially regarding LOQTORZI's projected growth. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable to you, hitting that like button really helps us out, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. And don't forget to check out the Discord community in the description for ongoing discussions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Corporate Decoder.